You're cutting out a little bit.
All right, let me hold on.
No, you're good. I don't care. Harry's the one who's going to have the conniption. We're going to get 11 p.m. nasty grams every night of the weekend. So I'm just getting some water over here. And we're waiting for Zeke. We're keeping him waiting. That's what we like to do on this podcast. Keep important people waiting. Jordan is replugging into the matrix.
All right, is that better?
I think so, hopefully.
Man.
What else do we have to talk about? BPI came out. So that was interesting. A little bit of at-risk inventory. Imports doing really well.
I don't have any idea what that at-risk inventory could be.
Right? And it's weird because the premium light number is still pretty static. What, 50, 51? I forget.
I know. That's been the craziest thing is seeing like the premium light trends, and they really haven't changed at all because below the surface, everything's just trading off. And I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before. It's pretty incredible. I know people are tired of hearing about it, and we're definitely tired of reporting on it as well, but it is just unbelievable. Since I've been working here, it's been guaranteed that Bud Light, no matter the time frame, channel, and the off-premise, is going to be number one brand selling. Doesn't matter. By far. And now that's just not the case, in latest time frames. And that was like the one thing I could guarantee no matter what.
You could say the same thing blindfolded next year, right? It'll be like, mark this same interview, same time for next year. I'm still going to have the same factoid. Yeah, it's crazy. So a lot of trade going on in premium lights. We had the story about Yingling today and the crazy gains they've seen. We'll see if they can keep up with supply. But the other thing that I thought was interesting from BPI was just how strong that imports number was. It was like 75, and it was the first time this year that they had outpaced their year ago trends. And obviously I think that has little to do with Bud Light Gate. That's just import strength, right?
Yeah. And we were talking, I don't know when Cinco would show up, if it would be more April or May, like you said, for people just kind of replenishing inventories.
I think it was replenishing. I think
Cinco is related somehow in there, but it is a really high number. And I think below premium is the only one that has been able to outpace its year ago comp for a while. So that's telling.
Totally. Well, we'll see soon. We'll get the full picture of Cinco soon. But we need some good news in the beer industry. Let's say we had a super strong Cinco. That's the lesson. We just had to replenish a ton.
Yeah, that's good for two companies.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my yad. I've been saying that because I have a friend who says it. So now I've been saying, oh my yad.
I like to say
oh my yad. Well, shall we let old Zeke in?
Yeah.
Let's do it. He's been patiently waiting for us. Hello.
Oh.
That's okay. Technical difficulties are part of our show. It's very much part of the brand.
So it's so funny. I said to myself, when you get on, the very most important thing, don't say, "Can everyone hear me?" Okay.
That's okay. Totally fine. Yeah.
We're in good shape. So did I miss where all my dreams come true? Because my dreams are coming true.
Oh, but no, that part comes right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so, excellent.
Yeah. Today, I would like to welcome to Beer Net Radio, Zeke Durantini. Did I say that right?
You did, which is very rare. So that's awesome. Yes, Durantini.
Way to go, Jen.
Points for me. Awesome. Yeah, would like to welcome to Beer Net Radio, where all your dreams come true. And legally, I have to add, allegedly. No.
Well, I can confirm they're coming true right now. So.
Perfect.
Happening in real time. And hi, Jordan. Good to meet you as well.
Cool. Well, let me give our listeners a little bit of background. So you are VP of sales for Spiked in DSD, Spindrift. And I believe Spindrift has been around since like 2010. It's a leading player in the non-alc sparkling water segment. And you guys are the first sparkling water made with real squeezed fruit. More recently, you've entered into the hard space, and now you send Spindrift Spiked to about 21 states, I believe. Yeah. And this is a perfect timing for our chat because, it's the Friday of Memorial Day weekend. You guys just came out with a new flavor, the strawberry, real squeezed strawberry with lime, right? Strawberry lemonade, which I will be drinking this weekend. You've made me the hero of my Saturday night barbecue because I'm going to take these cans and be like, you guys can't get this here right now, but you know me. So I tested it out. It's good. It's got no aftertaste, which I think is part of, your whole raison d'etre, right? Like everything is all natural, that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we'll dig into that. But first, I'm going to ask you the hard-hitting question. Okay. So why did you guys decide to get into the BevAlc side of things to begin with? And what kind of trends are you guys seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. So We are very fortunate at Spindrift to have such a loyal fan base. We affectionately refer to them as our drifter community. And as the category started to grow, as more and more entrants came into the category, we had an overwhelming request from our drifter community to, when are you getting in? When are you gonna have something to offer in this space? So we take that feedback and we take a look at those requests. And it actually took us about 2 years to develop Spindrift Spike through 2 years of taste testing and some trial and error there. And around March 2021, we finally found a version that we deemed delicious enough to share with the market.
Nice. And so is there a lot of crossover between, the non-alc drinkers of your core product and the Spindrift Spike drinkers? Is that pretty high?
That's a great question. It's a hard thing to quantify, right? So it's challenging to quantify that in the sense that, I think our best recruitment tool is our drifter community, is that hardcore loyal fan base, right? So, here we are 2 years later, and a lot of that coming through word of mouth from those really hardcore fans. And here we are 2 years later, and a lot of our key retailers are also the key retailers for the sparkling side of things. So it's really about, making sure that we are creating that purchase opportunity where we know the fans of the sparkling water are going to purchase their sparkling water to also create that opportunity for Spike.
That's interesting. Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's not a secret to you guys that this hard seltzer industry has seen tougher times in the last couple of years. So how are you guys doing? Can you give me any trend, any projections, like paint a little picture as to how it's going?
Absolutely. Okay. Now this is a change in the narrative. Are you ready for some good news?
We were just saying we need some good news. Yes.
Okay, let's have some, and to your point, you're right. It's perfectly timed going into Memorial Day weekend and products flying off the shelf. So yeah, we had a very measured sort of launch, right? What we did was we started in 2 key markets, the first being Massachusetts, Rhode Island, with our partners at Horizon Beverage there, and then also Southern California with Stone Distributing. And that was essentially the first 10 months of our market release, was just focusing on those 2 markets. We were developing our strategy, but we also had some things to figure out. So big kudos to Horizon and Stone for being really good partners through that process and helping us figure that all out. And then really a little bit towards the end of 2021, but mostly into spring 2022 and really through the summer and into fall, that's when we started to focus on more of a mass expansion. So we finished 2022 at about 19 states with about 49 wholesalers as well. We've continued that growth into Q1. And so yes, even through, April year to date now, our growth is about 300%. Something I like to keep a close eye on are those 2 first markets, right? How are we performing there? If we rely on expansion solely as a strategy, eventually you got nowhere to expand to. So within those key markets there too, in those first 2 that we had launched, we're still seeing growth of, upwards of 60%. And that is driven by some deeper distribution, but also our velocity is increasing there. So we know that it's resonating with the consumer. To me, that really speaks to the health of the brand to see the continued velocity even in those mature markets.
Yeah. And are you guys seeing a day or hoping that you can play among the top, say, 5, 10 hard seltzers or FMBs in a particular market?
Of course. I wouldn't be an effective VP of sales if that wasn't,
Sure.
eventually part of the goal. But even in some early results, like fall for us, we were lucky enough to be awarded a ton of national account distribution in fall of 2022. So now that we're getting into more of that spring season, we're thrilled to see that, we are a top 5 brand where we have distribution in Whole Foods. For Fred Meyer up in the Pac Northwest, we're a top 5 brand too. And we were originally, we were competing more on a dollars per point of distribution, but now it's relief to see, and we're excited to see that we're also competing on a unit sales level as well.
Right, right. One more question for me, and then I'll pass it to Jordan.
Sure.
You mentioned about being in store, right? Because obviously this has been sort of something we've been covering lately. How do you merchandise? Because you can't totally merchandise, next to the core product because you don't want any confusion. So how do you go to market like that?
We want to create that separation. I think as a alcohol brand with a non-alcoholic counterpart, I am a firm believer in taking that responsibility very seriously. I speak on behalf of everyone that where we've found some opportunity to cross merchandise, we want to make sure that we are creating that point of difference. But the path to market for the two are so separate that we know that if we want to create those points of interruption in store, it's important to do that. The old beer 101, on the path to where the beer coolers are. So while we are trying to harness as much of that crossover as we can, I think what's more important to us is to avoid creating any confusion out in retail.
Yeah. Well, just kind of picking up on that, it sounds like y'all are taking it serious, taking the right approach to separating these two. But do you kind of pay attention to maybe some of the other brands? Are there any other crossover brands that kind of worry you, or you think everyone's kind of, taking it the right way?
I wouldn't speak specifically to any brands that I could call out that worry me. I think that it's a shared responsibility, right? And if there is anyone that's emerging that seems to be crossing over into that line, we have to be very realistic that impacts all of us negatively too. Regardless of if you're taking a responsible approach to that or you're a little bit more reckless with it, what's good for one of us is good for all of us, and the same works for if that line is getting crossed or blurred in any way.
Yeah. Well, Zeke, I wanted to ask a little bit about your background because you have, experience in BevAlc, and then coming over, and what was the process like of creating a spiked crossover of a non-alc brand? I'm sure it's not as easy as, hey, let's just, spike this and then sell it.
Yeah, we'll throw some ultra filtered fermented cane sugar there and call it a day. No, it's an undertaking. I think that for me, and I think this is reflected in my background to your point as well, like it's very important to me to represent something that I feel aligned with. I think that we and how we go to market, if I'm representing something and going out and building something that I'm not also a firm believer in and don't believe in the merits of, that's not a sustainable cycle. So the process with building Spindrift out is we were so lucky, and that's worked to our advantage in so many ways, to have the older sibling of the sparkling water brand there. It gets us a seat at a lot of tables that, a startup brand that's taken a similar path to ours wouldn't have availability or access to. So that's been huge, but really the way that we go to market and operating within 3-tier in the BevAlc space is completely different than the way that the sparkling brands go to market. So we've built that our wholesaler network, our DSD network up from the ground up, really over the last 2 years. We also have some select wholesalers that are carrying the 16-ounce non-alcoholic, the 16-ounce sparkling brand in their portfolio as well. And we love to see that. I think that really deepens the understanding of who we are as a brand and what we do.
Jen, I saw your ears perking up there.
Well, you have a few follow-ups to that, but yeah. So from what I'm hearing, it sounds like most of your alc and non-alc distributors are separate, except for those alc distributors who also have the 16-ounce non-alc can. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah. So of our current 53 wholesaler partners, it's correct with all but one. Shout out to Farrell Distributing in Vermont. They were a previous wholesaler they were previously distributing our 8-pack, and they still are. And that was the only instance in which we layered in the spiked portfolio to an existing wholesaler as well.
Got it. That's super interesting because, of course, the BevAlc wholesalers want the 16-ounce single serve for their C-stores. Yeah, I'm sure they love that, right? So
absolutely.
That's interesting. So, well, first of all, tell our listeners about your background.
Sure. So I started in the beer business with New Belgium Brewing back in 2008. And actually, I had the pleasure, I was there, I want to say it was around 2010 or 2011, Jen, when you and Harry came to Fort Collins and spoke to the team as well. Yep. But I started there. I started with New Belgium Brewing, working in covering the San Francisco market, expanded a little bit out into Northern California, and then moved to Washington and worked under Rich Rush there, who's been a mentor to me as long as I've been in the business. And that was Oregon, Washington. We did the rollout of Alaska during that time. We did the rollout of BC and Alberta during that time. So that was an incredible moment in my career there, and really enjoyed it. Left there and actually moved back to Northern California, kind of managed Northern California and Northern Nevada, and then went to work with Allagash Brewing.
Wow. Okay.
And was working with the Allagash team there, kind of covering everything from the West Coast. from the Great Lakes over, and had an amazing experience. I have nothing but the absolute best things. I've been very lucky and very privileged to work with some incredible brands. And then after that, I actually left Allagash and went back to New Belgium Brewing and managed the sales for Magnolia.
Okay.
Brewing as well too, and was there managing those sales, managing Magnolia Brewing sales all the way up until the acquisition.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
That's quite the pedigree. So
right place, right time.
Nice.
I wish I could say, oh, this was all part of my master plan, but I just happened to follow that passion and that enthusiasm to the brands that I gravitated towards, and it's worked out really well for me.
Those are great brands. Awesome brands.
For sure. And same thing brought me to Spindrift. I think, looking through the lens of a consumer of Spindrift long before I was a member of the team, it's a brand that I've always had an emotional connection to as long as I've been drinking it. One of those sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
It's just what I like in it, I was a big sparkling water fan, big sparkling water consumer. And, those first sips of trying Spindrift is almost like when, you're in your early 20s, you're mostly drinking domestic light lagers, and then you try your first Sierra Nevada Pale Ale and you realize there's a whole world out there.
You guys definitely, your drifters are hardcore. So there's a couple single serves of the Spindrift at my Starbucks. And I swear every time I have the same barista and he's always like, I get the big pack at Costco and they're so much more affordable. You've got fan people everywhere, but remind me, it is a significant player among the flavored non-alc waters, right? It's gotta be top 5, top 10 among that, the larger set.
Top 10. We're currently at number 8 on the sparkling water side, but as far as growth goes, we're number 2 in the US for growth. So we're closing the gap there, but currently sitting at number 8 year to date.
Right. Big brand. So tell us about the new strawberry lemonade flavor, and then maybe foray into some of your overall top selling, packages and flavors. Absolutely.
So strawberry lemonade, we've been working on this one for a bit. We're very excited. Just like everything else we do, it's made with real squeezed fruit. We have an ultra filtered base from fermented cane sugar. Strawberry lemonade we use strawberries, lemons, a little bit of lime, sparkling water, and the ultra filtered fermented cane sugar there. This one is available in 8-packs. So we now have, originally we launched with our first variety pack, affectionately called Staycation. So our Staycation pack. And we had that for about the first year and change. Last year, we layered in the Paradise pack as well. So another 12-pack variety pack, and they're each 4 separate flavors. And Blood Orange Tangerine from the Paradise pack quickly emerged just based on consumer feedback and the, sampling people at festivals and things like that. Blood Orange Tangerine quickly emerged as a fan favorite amongst the 2 variety packs. We also recently updated the Staycation pack and added that strawberry lemonade into the variety pack too. And then we're now going, broad market with the strawberry lemonade 8-packs. We just launched these within the last couple of weeks, and early feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. So we're very excited about it. It gives us the opportunity to play more in the on-premise, more in some small formats where, having your portfolio consist of 2 12-pack variety packs might not always be the best fit. And then larger packs. Are you guys, obviously single serve is huge. Do you have any single serves in the alcoholic space, or are you looking at that at all? Not yet, but we have some really exciting innovations coming for 2024. That including, having a single serve pack, a couple of single serve packs as well, because as we continue to grow, we want to make sure that we are catering to the different channels of business that are opening up to us as well. And, if we want to occupy that sort of craft segmentation within the category, we want to make sure that we're continually innovating and offering new and exciting things for our consumers. And our 2024 plan aligns very well with that. Jay, back to you.
Yeah. Okay. Can you talk a little bit about top overall markets?
Absolutely. So, of our top overall markets, Southern California and Massachusetts, those really, for us are becoming mature markets. From a velocity standpoint and overall quality of distribution, those are still, some of our top markets. We launched New York with Union Distributing about a year ago, and that quickly emerged as a top market for us as well. We also have the Pac Northwest. Columbia Distributing has been amazing partners in Oregon and Washington, and we're continuing to still, grow on both velocity and volume there. And I just spent this last week working the market in Colorado with Breakthrough Beverage there too. And Colorado, as the snow is melting, is really starting to emerge as one of those top markets as well. So.
And how closely does that match with overall Spindrift's top markets?
So we initially picked, before we knew who our key retailers were going to be, we initially picked the markets that we were going into and sort of built our expansion plan around where we had the most community engagement, as well as where we saw, the highest velocity and the best turns on the sparkling brands. That strategy worked really well. We had engaged those retailers as well that were existing top accounts for sparkling. And now we are still following that strategy, but we're taking also now more of a retail-led approach. And we're partnering with our key retailers and saying, okay, you tell us what makes sense, where we should go next. And that's been a successful formula.
Yeah. And do y'all lean on any insights from the non-alc side to inform the bev alc side at all?
That's what we do. I think like I said, we take that feedback from our consumers. We take it very seriously. They are what helped us become Spindrift, and we take that all into consideration. And I think, to use strawberry lemonade as an example, that was a very successful launch on the sparkling side of things. And as soon as I tried the sparkling version, I immediately thought to myself, I cannot wait to get my hands on a spiked version. So
I can't wait to pour in that alcohol cane base into this. Just kidding.
And boom, done, right? A little more nuance than that, as we know. But yes, Jordan, to answer your question, absolutely. We have the ability to allow the successes of the sparkling team to inform our path forward on the spiked side.
And how about, I don't think you spoke directly to this. I mean, I know you're listening to your retailers, obviously, but any new markets on the horizon? We
do. Yeah, we have, 6 new markets. So the plan for the end of the year is we'll be in 31 states total. Where we sit today, we're actually at 24 states currently across 53 wholesalers. We have 5 states currently that we're just awaiting state registration for. So our strategy has been, and we learned this, last year we were so focused on expansion, as tends to happen, in the category that we see those seasonal declines in Q4. So we use that time to work through agreements with wholesalers, figure out what that next step of expansion is going to be, put all those pieces in place so that when we move into Q1, we're ready to go and make a big impact in the market. And the flip side of that, where we are today, is we also don't want to lose sight of the importance of supporting our existing markets that we're in during the key summer selling months, being the best partner we can to our retailers and our wholesalers, and taking a pause from that rapid expansion and making sure we're focusing on driving distribution.
Cool. And supply is all secure, buttoned up.
Okay, but yes, we are very fortunate to be in that position that we've had no issues with any, no cans, no packaging materials. And for us, the unique proposition being that real squeezed fruit, that we've had no problem sourcing that fruit. And again, I credit that to us being able to piggyback on the sparkling brand. And we've been so fortunate to have that. So no supply issues. We've been able to keep up with demand, even as demand has grown significantly. And even with strawberry lemonade, we were able to produce this. We sold out of that initial batch to our wholesaler network almost immediately. Great problem to have. And we were able to quickly spray and get another one going right away.
Are you able to share who produces it for you?
We're headquartered in Newton, Massachusetts, and we're lucky as we continue to grow. We've been very fortunate with with having the right partners to produce with us kind of spread around the country.
A few. Okay. Got it. Cool. What do you think, Jay? I think we had a very thorough chat there. Zeke, do you have any questions for us?
No, I'm curious. If I have the opportunity, I'm going to take it. What you think, what is your insight as to, and even your opinion as to where this segmentation of this, we're starting to see this craft segmentation within the hard seltzer category. Where do you see that heading?
I'll let Jordan answer first.
Well, I had one question before you asked this question that I think might help explain it. Is, a lot of people have been asking for kind of retailers to kind of thin out the hard seltzer space. And they said, there was a lot of people that just jumped on the bandwagon and put out a bunch of bad hard seltzer. So I wanted to ask you if it's been thinning at all. Have you seen any progress on that front? But I do think there are some craft seltzers that can stand out. And you're going to have your White Claw, you're going to have your Truly. It will be interesting to see how much focus they kind of start to shift towards their new spirits baseline. But I think anybody else, macro, they're kind of wondering whether this is long-term or not. they had their 1 or 2 years of awesome sales, and then now it's just a drag on their volumes, on their dollars. And
Boston.
And so I think the smaller brands will stand out.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jen, go ahead. And then if you don't mind taking that question about the progress on maybe thinning out some of the hard seltzer too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I agree. I think that they're going to be fewer and fewer large hard seltzer players because to an extent, insofar as we've got these like core flavors and stuff like that, you can only have so many of those that make sense, right? It becomes a little bit commoditized, but yeah, there's always going to be, I think, room for a craft, more premium product in most segments. So sure. If it's differentiated,
Totally. And I think with us having that real sweet fruit does create that point of difference. I think from what I've observed and even just having conversations with consumers, with retailers, that, that consumer is looking to explore within the space. And there's not a lot of places outside, innovation traditionally, for the last couple of years, kind of being more like, hey, we're innovating our package formats or the flavors that we're putting in our hard seltzer, where I see Spindrift as a true innovation, a place for that consumer to go and explore. And, I do think, I've mentioned it before, but that brand recognition of Spindrift also creates that point of difference along with that fruit, with the real squeezed fruit. And I think, for us, as Spindrift, it's something that the spike is something that we're really proud to offer to our community. And I think it's an innovation that we're really proud to offer to the category as well. And I think it's been very exciting and also very fulfilling to see how well it's been received in the market. And we're very excited for the road ahead.
Nice. And then I guess that's it, right? Except, no, what are you seeing in shelf sets? Are you seeing like the seltzer herd get thinned out a bit?
Yes, I am seeing that a bit. I think, we're all looking at the same ad deletes that we're seeing season over season. I think that where it's legal in the state, we're seeing RTDs, spirit-based RTDs grab some shelf space in what was traditionally more of the beer cooler space there. I also think that continual addition of SKUs within the hard seltzer category was unsustainable. Yeah. So I'm not necessarily surprised to see it. I think that I look at Spindrift as a valuable asset in offsetting some of those category declines driven mainly by the larger producers.
Yep. Makes sense. Makes sense. Cool. Does anybody have any cool Memorial Day plans besides drinking lots of Spindrift and Spindrift Spike?
Yes, listener, please, all the Spindrift Spike strawberry lemonade you can, responsibly for those 21 and over. Yes. We're taking sort of the staycation route, which I have 2 young daughters, and that is a luxury to be able to have a little vacation right here at home. So looking forward to that. Absolutely. What about you both?
I'm here at my wife's family's lake house right now. So that's why I got the different background.
Yes.
Yeah. We drove up this morning and getting ready for the long weekend.
Awesome.
I'm jealous. I need a second house. I need a family house. I'm like Jordan and Bianca, who's our other associate. She was like, yeah, I'm going up to a family's place in Big Bear. And I'm like, must be so nice. I'm here stuck in Austin, which, they put an Hermes store on South Congress. So I'm pissed. No, it's going to be fun. Tomorrow, the kids are going to be swimming all day and we'll go to a brewery. We'll probably go to Jester King and
awesome.
Just chill, watch movies.
Both of you sound like you have perfect Memorial Day plans. So
you as well.
Happy 3-day weekend. And thank you both again for having me. It really is. I wasn't exaggerating, Jay, when I said it's an honor to be here. So thank you.
No, thank you. Yeah, no, awesome brand, awesome peeps, right? And thank you for sharing your insight with us. You have quite the pedigree, right? So
well, thank you.
Cool.
Much appreciated.
Cheers. All right.
Have a great week. Sounds good.
Cheers.
Thank you.